Blog Talk Radio. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Ellen Young, and these are My Rays of Light. Tonight we're going to be talking about getting in touch with your body. And what we mean by that is get in touch with what goes into your body, into your mouth, into your mind, into your heart, into your soul. All of these are very important to keep us fully rounded and healthy. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone about our gratitude journals that we're writing in every day, right? We have 30 days of writing in our gratitude journals so we can tell what it is that you're grateful for today and why. Why are you grateful for it? And in mentioning that, I wanted to say a special hello to our friend Bears in Georgia. Hi, Bears. We love you. Gratitude journals are very important because they remind us what to be thankful for. Now in August, we're going to be doing a special show where all of the kids that have written in the gratitude journals are going to be able to have a chance to read a page or two out of the gratitude journals just to show us adults exactly the things that we really should be thankful for. Because often as we get older, we forget about these things. They pass away. They slip through. Just like sand in an hourglass, everything just keeps slipping through. So we want to remind each and every one of us to be thankful for something and remind yourself what you're thankful for and why, because the why is just as important as the what, because it will bring you right back around to that thing tomorrow. We were going to remind you also that if you want to get in touch with us on Twitter, that would be Light Rays and the number 1. Our website is www.myraysoflight.com. We also have a brand new YouTube channel, and you can just search for My Rays of Light. Those links will always be available to you on Facebook and on Twitter. And feel free to contact us. We want to know what you have to say and what you think about the show. Any writing that I am doing it all is going to be posted on myraysoflight@wordpress.com. If you have any comments, questions about any of that material, please leave a message with us there. And we're going to encourage you to contact us on Facebook under LM Young or under the My Rays of Light Radio Network group. We have lots of great things going on with that group, and we really want each and every one of you to get involved with it. It's very important to us. Now, when we're talking about getting in touch with your body, I asked a question in the radio group earlier this week and said, how much water is enough water? Because everyone always says something different, and they always will say 8 cups or 8 glasses of water. Now, a cup or a glass could be a shot glass of water. It could be a huge Slurpee cup of water. How much water is enough? So I did a little bit of research myself, and the research was telling me that it really is going to depend on each individual person. If you weigh 150 pounds, you're not pregnant, you don't live in a dry area or too cold of an area, then you should drink almost 3 liters of water a day at 150 pounds. But the best measure of how much water you should be drinking per day to be healthy is going to be in the color of your urine. You pay special attention to that because if your urine is like a light yellow color, you're drinking just enough fluid. Now that means that you're getting enough fluid through drinking water, any drink at all. your food, fruits, vegetables. Fruit has a lot of water in it. The darker your urine gets, the more water you should be drinking. And the lighter your urine gets, if it gets almost to where it's clear, then you're drinking a little bit too much water. So whenever I was a child and I used to ask, is there enough water? Is there too much water? And I was always told, no, you can never have too much water. That is not true. We want to make sure that we are taking care of our bodies. Our bodies are very important. You only have one. You have this one life. You want to make sure that you're taking very good care of it. If you're diabetic especially, it's important that you're taking care of your body. You're eating the fruits and the vegetables that you need. There has been a lot of controversy over the amount of protein that is needed. And for the longest time, they were saying that the best way to get protein is through meat. And in a few minutes, Nadiyah is going to come on and join us, and she's going to give us the information that she has found about the pyramid, the food pyramids, and how they have changed over the years. And so I'm not going to even touch on that subject until she gets the chance to, come on and talk to us about it. But it's very important that we are aware of what is going on with our bodies. Whenever you eat well, you get plenty of rest and exercise, your mind works better. It's more alert. You're more aware. You're mindful of your body. We call this mindfulness, when we are aware of what our body is doing and why it's doing it. When we are aware of what our emotions are doing and why our emotions are doing it. So all these things are very important, and we're going to be covering all of these things tonight. We just want to make sure that everyone knows that they can get a hold of us at 646-564-9708. That's 646-564-9708. Or you can contact us online at blogtalkradio.com/MROL. We are going to take a brief commercial break for just a second. We're listening to a song called Stay With Me by Sam Smith. We'll be back in just one moment with more My Rays of Light Radio. Welcome back to My Rays of Light Radio. I'm your host, L.M. Young. Tonight, as I told you earlier, Nadiyah is going to be joining us, and she's going to be giving us lots of great information about nutrition and health. And so at this moment, what I'm going to do is turn the floor over to Nadiyah. Hi, Nadiyah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good myself.
Good. So what good information do you have for us tonight about this?
Oh, wow. I'm actually going to touch a bit on the herbs, the way you digest your food, the food pyramid, and the exercise. Those are the things that will help keep someone pretty healthy.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So basically I'm going to begin with the food pyramid. I looked up the food pyramid for the USDA, and it actually shows that the amount of meat and oil should be consumed as the smallest part of your diet. The portion of fruits and vegetables should be a little bit more than the meat, and then the grains being the largest consumed.
Right.
Looking at the Mediterranean food pyramid, that shows that the meat should be eaten very sparingly, every day or only twice a week. Oil consumed in smaller portions than the meat, with everything else like fruit and vegetables and grains, all should be eaten in larger quantities on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Dr. Will pyramid, his was a little more extensive, that showed fruits and vegetables being the largest consumed food group and decreasing in portion from nuts, seeds, legumes, rice, grains. and sources of protein like fish, soy, eggs, cheese, tea, wine, and supplements. After that, the least amount to be consumed on his pyramid was the healthy sweets. The most to consume, mushrooms and herbs and spices. So if I were to create a pyramid, I probably would eliminate fish, chicken, eggs, and so forth, mainly because the amount in your nutrition is such a small amount needed.
Right.
And you could actually get that in supplements. So the remaining of your diet can be received through fruits and vegetables. Now, as Americans, we find that compared to the rest of the world, we have the biggest problem with weight gain, and we have the worst health. So it really doesn't take a genius to know that the way we eat is actually contributing to our bad health.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking about like certain family functions that I've gone to, different events and so forth. When you go there, I'm not sure about you, but when I usually go there, I see mostly meat.
Right.
So, there are times, because I'm vegetarian, I'll go there and I'll say, do you have anything that doesn't have any meat? So when I ask them that, they look at me and say, oh, let me see. And they'll come to me with this iceberg lettuce and tell me that this is the salad.
Right.
And with the iceberg lettuce, when you look at it, I use the word iceberg. I relate it to the iceberg, the ice, and look at it. It's white in color. And, when you go back into science class, when you're in class, you learn about the photosynthesis and how the leafy vegetables get so green from the sunlight and the nutrients that goes into it. And then I look at the iceberg lettuce and I say to myself, something's not right.
Right.
So, the most nutrient-dense leafy vegetables are usually a dark green in color, which, of course, comes from the chlorophyll, resulting from it being, from the sun. So those are little hints here and there when you're choosing your food and you're trying to be as healthy as you possibly can.
Right. So let me ask you a question, though, because I always heard that the iceberg lettuce, we don't actually digest it.
I'm not sure about the not being digested, but because it lacks all of that, it's supposed to be more acidic.
Right.
And in average, when you're looking at vegetables, they're supposed to be more alkaline.
Right.
And because it's lacking that color, you can tell which one is more acidic and which one isn't. Now, if you're not worried about the balance of the alkaline and the acid in your body, if you eat pretty balanced, and once in a while you eat an iceberg lettuce in your salad, it shouldn't be much of a problem because it has a lot of water content.
Right. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But as far as the nutrients, if you're trying to eat with more, health intent, then you probably would want to go more on the dark green leafy vegetables.
Right.
And now, thinking back when I was a child, I don't know if, a lot of people, they usually hear their parents telling them that they have to eat their greens, eat your green vegetables and, don't leave the green vegetables on the side, make sure you eat it. And they used to always tell me that I need it because it has good roughage.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that terminology, so, I'm going to explain that roughage is pretty much that it is fibrous foods.
Mm-hmm.
It works well to clean your intestines. Now, when you're looking for optimal health, you also have to look in your intestinal health as well, because your
Right.
digestion is the beginning of your health.
Right.
When you have, you have meat, you have all of this foods full of oil and a lot of starch, and
Mm-hmm.
you eat all of that, and it's clogging up and filling up into your intestines, you can't possibly have the best absorption of your nutrients, your vitamins and minerals and so forth. So you would actually have to clean that out.
Right.
And if you're eating the leafy vegetables on a regular basis, you should not have so much of a problem with buildup.
Right.
So that's one good thing to have in your practice, as far as what you eat. And a lot of people, may not, some people may not want to eat all the leafy vegetables, or, they say they can't do it. So
Right.
it's probably best to have a cleanse. Is
there a particular cleanse that you would suggest?
I know I personally did a cleanse, what they call it, the master cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are other people that say that, what they call it, the colon cleanse, what aqua, they use the water.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to a specialist that has the machine, and they flow water through it in order to clean it. There are a lot of pros and cons as far as that's concerned. So I would say it's a personal choice with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, they said it could be too harsh.
Right.
Other doctors say, well, it gets it cleaned properly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about personal choice. But I know I liked dealing with the master cleanse because I didn't have to spend a lot of money doing it.
Right.
It only takes 10 days. You pretty much have to use, you keep at least 2 days, the first 2 days that you're going to start, depending on how much buildup you have. You're going to spend a lot of time in the bathroom in the first few,
Right.
But basically, you're going to make a salt water cleanse. So you take a gallon of water, and I'm not sure exactly the exact measurements. I believe it's a tablespoon. But you mix that into the water. As soon, the first thing you get up, the first thing you put in your body, you could drink that salt water.
Right.
It flushes right through you. Some people who have high blood pressure, hypertension, they might not want to take that method as far as to wash their colon, so they can take a tea called Smooth Move.
Smooth Move?
Yes. Now, I personally couldn't take the Smooth Move because it causes contractions to your intestines. You feel a lot of cramping initially.
Oh, okay.
But everybody doesn't experience that same thing. So
right.
The salt water worked well for me. Smooth Move works well for other people. So that's an option. And then every day for the next 10 days, in order to make sure that you're cleansing yourself and keeping the proper nutrients so you don't starve, you take a lemonade. You drink a lemonade every day throughout the day that you make yourself. The ingredients is cayenne pepper, fresh lemons, distilled water, and maple syrup. Very simple. So you mix that, make it fresh, and then you drink it whenever you get hungry. So that's pretty simple, and it doesn't cost much compared to going to a facility that has high technical equipment that will, flush you out for, however thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars.
Exactly. Now, are you a part of that group, the 30-day fruits and veggies group?
Yes, I am.
How is they have the best recipes in there, and that food looks so good. Yes. I wasn't even sure how I was even going to like it too much, but I mean, everything just looks so good. And I know that there was a big discussion in there one day because they were also adding in seafood, fish and shrimp and stuff. So, but isn't a certain amount of fish good for you also?
Everything that you can get, basically from fish, meat, anything that is a meat base, you can get from leafy greens, from vegetables, from your nuts and seeds, with exception of vitamin B12. And 12, from what I researched and what I saw, it would come from something like liver or yeast. So it's not really necessary for your diet. Okay. So, because isn't omega-3 important? So where else would you get that from? There are a lot of nuts and seeds that have the same omega-3.
Okay. Yeah. Because I grew up on fish, so especially salmon. So that's why I'm asking more for myself.
Oh yes. I mean it took for me. I used to think that you have to have meat in your diet in order to be healthy. And, I think my first step was when I read the book for the Master Cleanse, because I noticed, some people said, it'll cleanse you out, and if you have asthma, if you have certain kind of ailments, it should help you. And I've had asthma all my life as a child, and it fluctuates in seriousness. There are times that you have to be rushed to the emergency room with the oxygen and, the emergency IVs. And it's all because your lungs are starting to fail you. Right. And, growing up with this as a child all the way up, in and out of emergency rooms, taking steroids, taking all kinds of medications that are actually harmful to you. Right. And I don't know if there's a lot of people who have never had asthma and they don't know, but the medication that you take, it speeds your heart rate up so fast. Right, it does. Yeah. It's like you ran a marathon. And sometimes it hurts how fast your heart is beating. Right. And even as a child, I know this can't be right. There's something wrong with this. I know I can't breathe. I need it to stay alive, but at the same time, it feels like it's killing me. Yeah. So I figured, hey, if I can do a cleanse that can probably eliminate this process, I'm going to try. Right, of course. Yeah. So I started out doing the cleanse, and I took all of that stuff out of my diet, and then I started to see the difference between when I'm eating meat and then when I'm not eating meat. Right. I can tell a balance of sluggishness versus non-sluggish. Right. It makes you feel real heavy. It makes you sleepy. So I decided for myself to stop eating meat. Now, I don't expect everybody to do this because everybody's body works differently. They might have
Right.
certain medications that they have to be on, and there's a whole lot of different aspects when you're dealing with different people's bodies.
Right.
But that forced me to look at the diet and see what can I eat in place of meat to make sure I have my protein and all the other things that they say only meat has.
Right.
And I found out that the majority of what's in the meat are in your vegetables.
Wow. I think I saw something like that too on Facebook, that there's more protein in broccoli than there is in a piece of red meat.
Exactly. And a lot of people, I mean, certain people argue, that are for the meat, that you have to have meat protein versus the plant protein. You can't function without the meat protein because you'll, become ill. Well, there are so many vegans out there who are a testimony against that.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. There are a lot of vegans out there, and they are healthy, and they're certainly maintaining their lives. I've never heard of someone dying because they're not eating meat.
Exactly.
Not to try to be funny, but think about all of the steroids and stuff they're injecting in cattle, and just so they could have more product per cattle, or per cow. So, that's not natural. It's not a natural thing to do. So, if anything that comes through the earth is completely natural. So, if they are supplementing chemicals into the beef, into the fish, into the chickens, into the turkeys, into any of the meat that we're consuming to make it larger so they can make a bigger profit off of it, then it would be easy to see how people would start getting ill. And that's what I meant by that. Simply just to know that when I said that people don't die from not eating meat, there are people dying whenever they eat beef with mad cow disease, or the fish that are affected by the toxins from Japan. Whenever that reactor, whenever the tsunami affected that reactor, there are animals that have been affected by that. Whereas everything is coming from the earth is protected naturally. It's protected by the earth.
Right. The salmonella poisoning also comes from meat. It's a meat poison.
Right.
And there are times that you have salmonella in spinach and salmonella in the peanuts, and you're wondering why is salmonella getting into it's something that's supposed to be only for the meat, and it's getting into the vegetables and your plant-based foods. And that's because the rundown from the waste of the cows end up washing down into the crops.
Right.
And that ended up being a big problem. But normally, and obviously there's a problem because normally you can use cow manure to fertilize your food. So why is it that this cow manure is contaminating the food?
Right.
So, that's a lot to think about.
It's a whole lot. It's basically a series all by itself, because even people that are breeding their own chicken because they still like chicken and they want to know, what's going on with it. What are you feeding it? What are you feeding that chicken? What is it eating off of the ground? And a lot of people aren't thinking about that. They're not thinking about it. Well, I'm feeding my chickens Purina chicken feed. Well, Purina is GMO, so really, what are you eating? What are you eating that's so natural? It's a complex process. I think that what we're going to do is take a brief commercial break. I think we have a caller on the line, and we'll be back in just one more moment with more My Rays of Light Radio. Welcome back to My Rays of Light Radio. I'm your host, L.M. Young, Tonight we'll have joining with me Nadiyah, who's been giving us all kinds of valuable information about health and food, meats, proteins. And right now we have a caller on the phone, Kim. Kim is sort of in charge of the group on Facebook for the 30-day fruit and veggie challenge. Kim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for having me, Jen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just doing a little bit of cooking right now. Hey, Leslie, how are you?
Hello, I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
You know, I was telling Nadiyah that I love to look at like all of the recipes that everybody keeps posting in your group because because you know sometimes when you hear about people changing their diets, how it doesn't look that good. It may sound like it's good, but it doesn't look that good. But these pictures are so good. You know, it's a great thing that you're doing, trying to encourage people, you know, to eat better, eat healthier.
Thank you. Yes, and actually that's pretty much what makes the most sense out of it because of the fact that people are able to visualize the vegetables and, you know, get their palate going because, you know, most people, when they say that they don't like vegetables or they don't eat certain vegetables, it's because they grew up, you know, not liking them or maybe they were cooked a certain type of way that just didn't, you know, favor their palate. So just being able to see the different recipes and to see people cooking some of these things, it gets a lot of people interested. Definitely gets people interested.
I would think so. I mean, I would really think so. And plus, not only that, I see how many people are, you know, coming in there and talking, and it seems like every day somebody new is coming in and adding something or commenting about something. And it's really good to get people involved like that because it's so important for us to eat healthier. You know, and if you can do it for 30 days, then you can change your life. You know,
exactly.
30 days is a small period of time, but it's enough time for you to say, okay, well, if I've done without it this long, why can't I do a lot without it longer? You know.
Exactly. I agree. And, you know, I do want to keep it going after the 30-day period. You know, it's not going to just end at 30 days. You know, of course, we're going to keep posting and, you know, keep eating vegetables, and I'm going to try to pull more people into the group, you know, and encourage, especially African-American women. You know, that's one of the major groups of people that I want to encourage because mainly, to be honest, I'm just so sick of people just being on the straight row of, okay, baked macaroni and cheese and collard greens. That's all my diet consists of. Come on.
Right.
We can eat more than that. You don't have to have you know, your meal does not have to consist of baked macaroni and cheese and collard greens every time you sit down to eat. You know, come on. So that's a big mission of mine, just to open African-American minds to trying new things and to eat different things.
Exactly. You know, and open minds to other things, too, because lately it's been crazy on Facebook. That is a whole nother show. But, you know, you all know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
You know,
I do.
But it's really important to get people to understand that it's okay to think outside of the box, that a lot of people were raised a certain way, but our grandparents were raised a certain way, and it doesn't mean that we're not supposed to grow from it, you know, because I remember whenever my grandmother was younger, she told me that whenever you got a burn, they wanted you to put butter on it. And, you know, all of that changed. That completely changed because now we know that people, you know, how much salt butter has in it. Why would you want to put that on a burn? You know, so at that time, I mean, it made sense to them at that time because at that time it cooled the burn, or it seemed to because the butter melted. You know, so it's time for us to start looking at life differently, not just how we look at each other, but like I said, what we consume, what are we eating, what are we thinking about, what are we putting into our hearts and our minds. And it all starts with food. It's the thing that brings us all together for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, for reunions, you know, weddings, funerals. Food brings us together as people.
Absolutely.
So I think that what you are doing is fantastic. And anytime you want to come on the show, you are more than welcome to, because I love having you here. You're just great.
Oh, thanks, Jen. And, I do want to give a shout-out to my daughter for it, because actually it was all her idea. She was the one who came to me and was like, Mommy, why don't we do the whole vegetable thing that we did back when I was in high school? And that's how it started. She's getting ready to go into the Air Force soon, and she has to maintain her weight so that she can get through boot camp. And, she needs to be physically fit. So, part of that was her, coming to me like, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we just do this for a little while, and that way I'll be able to prepare myself. And, of course, it's going to help you because, I don't know if you were around in the group for the past year, but, I went through a whole 60-pound weight loss training with Ephraim Gauze. So
wow.
I was like I was almost at like 300 pounds, and, I lost like 60, 65 pounds training with him in a year time frame. That was in 2012. So it's important to me to maintain my weight. I don't want to be that statistic of the person who, loses the weight and then gains it all back, after you start training. I need to maintain my lifestyle. So I definitely got to give her a shout-out for that.
She posts the best food on there. She has this protein shake on there or something, and I was asking her questions about it. Okay, I know that it's good for you, but does it taste good because it's green? It's green.
Yes.
Does it taste good?
Oh, my God. Actually, it was really good. It was really good. This is her first time getting into the shakes as well. She never really got into the shake, so she was experimenting and putting different types of fruits and vegetables in her shakes, trying to develop different flavors. And I'm like, oh my God, these taste really good. Okay, we have to make some more of these. We definitely have to make some more of these. I definitely like the celery. She did one with cucumber, and the freshness of that cucumber. It was so good. I loved how fresh it tastes. So she's doing a good job with that.
We'll tell her to keep on posting that stuff, because I'm telling you, I'm going to start juicing. I have got to start juicing. And it's just an overall wellness thing. It's an overall wellness, like I was talking about diabetes earlier, high blood pressure. I have lupus, and eating the fresh vegetables and fresh fruit is the best thing possible for you. So you don't want the additives and the preservatives. You want to throw your can openers away. You do not ever want to have to use a can opener, because if it is in a can or if it's in a jar, if it's frozen, 9 times out of 10 from the store, it's preserved in salt.
Definitely.
The absolute worst thing for you with any autoimmune disease is salt, because it causes swelling. So we have got to do better. We have just got to do better, because our lives are really, literally depending on it. So
absolutely.
I think that what you guys are doing is absolutely fabulous. The group seems to be like this, going crazy. They're going crazy in there, and it's really nice. People are posting their breakfast, their lunch, their dinner, their snacks, their drinks, and I think Tay posted cake. I don't know why he posted that thing up there, but
I saw that. I just saw it. I was like, if he's trying to tempt everybody.
Like, he is posting cake, and he's like, okay, Jen, you going to make this? I'm like, what does this have to do with fruits and vegetables? There's not a fruit in this.
It looked good, though. It looked real good.
It did look good. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I gained 20 pounds just looking at that picture.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I take blame for that when I put the first, what was it, a carrot cake or something?
Oh, the carrot zucchini cake? Oh, my gosh, that looks so good.
Yes.
I know.
Did you see that fruit ensemble?
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
That was absolutely beautiful. I think his name was Dylan who posted that.
Right.
Oh, my God. It looked absolutely delicious. Actually, he's a chef here in Atlanta. He was telling me. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, you keep posting things like that, you're going to end up getting some business from the locals who are in the group.
Yeah, because it was beautiful. It was just so beautiful, And I think Che had posted a video of an apple that somebody cut up to look like a swan. Like, okay, that apple would be gone way before it became a swan. You would have to actually make it into the swan before anybody saw it. But Yeah, it's that the more beautiful you make the food look, the more people want to eat it. Instead of slopping a whole bunch of stuff on a plate, or you know how it is like at picnics, people just throw stuff everywhere. But I've been in places where they will core out like a watermelon and make like the little circles, the little balls with the watermelon and cantaloupe, and people seem to want to eat that more because it looks more beautiful.
It's pretty, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah. So maybe we should spend more time doing that instead of trying to consume so much food, because and also something people don't realize a lot of the time is the slower you eat, the more full you get, and you won't eat quite as much.
Yeah. True.
So
that is true.
Lots of lessons for people to learn. Lots of lessons.
Oh, yeah. And you know what, Jen, please feel free to post some of those things in there, all of those little tips, because, I think a lot of people aren't aware of a lot of those things. I think it would be foolish of us to think that everybody is aware of, different tips that can help them either lose weight or not eat as much. So, yeah, please post some of that stuff.
Definitely.
That's definitely appreciated.
Yeah,
and,
I'll definitely do that.
Also, before I go, I want to add, too, I really like the fact that there are outsiders who haven't actually joined the group yet, but because it is an open group, people are able to see in the news feed, things that are being posted, and that's another reason why people are joining the group. So, I just want to tell your listeners that if you're on Facebook, just to go to the 30-day Fruits and Vegetable Challenge, and you'd be able to join. Click join, and we'll be able to let you in. And, post pictures, recipes, and just give us that good stuff.
And we'll make sure we put we'll post a link on the My Rays of Light radio group also, so that they can click there to get over there, because it's really a great group to be in. It really is.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
and
for
I appreciate
me.
having me.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. I was so glad you joined us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. And it was good talking to you too, Leslie.
Oh, thank you. Same to you.
Am I not using the correct name? I'm like,
you're good.
Oh my God.
I'm Leslie on Facebook.
You're
That's
good.
Fine.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys again.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take another brief commercial break, and we'll be back with more My Rays of Light Radio. Welcome back to My Rays of Light Radio. I'm your host, L.M. Young. I want to thank all of our callers so far. Nadiyah's been a great co-host tonight. Kim and her daughter, when they called in to talk about the vegetable challenge. Really, if you're interested in that group, it's fantastic. I didn't join it at first. I sort of watched it to see what they were doing. It's called the 30-Day Fruits and Veggies Challenge, and they post pictures of meals that they are actually cooking, not something you see out of magazines, but actual food, and then the list of the ingredients that they use to put it all together. I'm trying to talk the members of the group into putting a cookbook together, so hopefully we can collaborate with that, because that would be a great idea, and lots of people are interested. Tonight we've been talking about getting in touch with your body. Now, that, of course, means food. It means drinking low-caloric drinks. But not only that, it's just what are the things that you're putting in your mind and in your heart? What are the things that you're carrying around with you? Because a large part of being healthy is being healthy from the inside out. Now, whatever you give out is what you get in. So whenever we're carrying around anger or anxiety, frustration, hate, guilt, indifference, love, all of these things that we take in, we then become sort of a mirror to these things. They reflect off of us. We get to choose what it is we want to do in life. We get to choose whether we're going to be reflective, whether we're going to shine, whether we're going to have a dull finish, whether we're going to stay in the dark, or whether we're going to light candles for people. It's very important that we learn how to love one another. It's important for our minds, our spirits, our souls. We are going someplace. We are going to a higher place. And whenever we leave this place, the questions that are going to be asked to us are really simple. How did you contribute? What did you do? Were you distasteful? Were you hateful? Were you angry? Were you bitter? Or were you loving and kind and caring and considerate? Because that's what the world needs more of. The more loving and considerate. You lose nothing by being loving. You lose nothing by being considerate. There is not a single thing in the world that can be taken away from you by being exactly who you were created to be. There just isn't. There's too much hate. There's too much indifference. We're talking about hating the people's skin color. We're talking about people of the same race hating each other's skin color. It simply makes no sense. It makes no sense. It destroys your soul and your spirit, and that is what we're trying to do here at My Rays of Light. At My Rays of Light, we are trying to uplift, uphold, carry you sometimes if it's necessary, because sometimes we all have days where we feel like we cannot make it on our own. And the greatest news ever is this: you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not suffering through this by yourself, no matter what you're suffering with. Now, what you're suffering with could seem like it is the heaviest thing ever. It could be a diagnosis of an illness. It could be a death in the family. It could be bills. It could be divorce, separation, a family in discord. It could be any of these things. It could be something minor. You could have stubbed your toe. It could be something very minor, and it could ruin your entire day if you allow it. Today I was explaining to someone how I look at illness, and how I look at illness is very simple. It's a grain of sand, and my life is the entire beach. If you let a grain of sand ruin your entire beach, then there's larger problems that you have going on. It's a beach. It's beautiful. Enjoy it, because your entire life is filled with beauty and enlightenment, love, joy, care, concern. These are the things we're supposed to be putting into our hearts. These are the things we're supposed to be putting into our minds. These are the things that I want us to be thinking about. This is where our time should be spent. Our time should be spent loving one another. And when you come across someone who is not loving, you have to remember that some people have been in that place for a very long time. There are people that walk around in the dark and don't realize that it's dark. Because as you know, if you turn off all the lights in your house right now, your eyes will get used to the darkness. You'll move around furniture. You'll be able to open and close doors. You'll be able to just sit down where you want to sit. You will forget that you're in the dark until somebody turns on a light. So what I'm asking is, even whenever we're talking about the gratitude journal, is turn on that light. Turn on that light for someone. Say to them, I am here for you. I know that life is not easy right now. I know that sometimes things are hard and it feels like you don't have any other way. So all you want to do is fight back. You want to fight back with them. You want to argue with them. You want to find some disagreeability with them. You want to find something you don't like about them. But this is the news that's very important. Everything that you see in other people, you are only able to see because it's a reflection of you. Wouldn't it be so much easier then to love them, to love who they are becoming, who they can become, and know that you can be a part of that. You can be a part of that. You can play a large role in what's happening with them. As we talked before earlier, I have lupus. I have a disease that is trying to destroy my body every day. Every day I have to decide it's going to be a great day. And for the past couple of days, what I had done was I posted it on Facebook. I sent text messages. I was making phone calls. Today's going to be a great day. And when everybody was acting like I was crazy for saying it, why are you saying today's a great day? Because I said it's going to be a great day. I've decided, no matter what happens today, I have decided it's going to be a great day. And so therefore, it has to be, because I have claimed it. I have claimed that it's going to be a great day. And so therefore, it must be that. It must be that. It cannot be anything less, nothing less. Now, what I did do was I had written a poem about this. When you have lupus, you have energy, but you have limited supplies of energy. And the best explanation that I ever found about lupus was called the spoon theory. And a spoon represents how much energy you have for that day. So what I did was I wrote a poem about it. I wanted to read it to you before we go to our next break. The poem is called Spoon Talk. What is the spoon talk amongst lupus heroes? They symbolize our energy, how fast it can go. You need one to get up, but don't be too fast. For one spoon opens your eyes. That's how long a spoon lasts. Throughout the day, you have limited spoons to use. By midday, you are running on a short fuse. Who would have thought a conversation would take so much energy, a spoon? Concessions we must make. Oh, and the smiles, they are deceptive too. But she doesn't want this to be a burden to you. So she smiles and laughs while spoons are being spent until she realizes that her energy, it went. I guess if fatigue was the extent of this disease, it would be a cakewalk, like a soft-blowing breeze. But there is the pain and swelling. There are the organs shutting down. There are the tears she sheds when no one is around. There is the knowledge that lupus tends to create pain, bruising, swelling, the rashes, fatigue, the aches. It's amazing exactly how much one shining smile can hide. Fear of the unknown. Lupus is a frightening ride. She gives a spoon for this and a spoon for that. It may get you going, but how do you get back? Every day you have, every emotion you make, every attempt at normalcy is all lupus takes. So I'm sharing with you on this unspecific day. Be aware that this disease wants to kill all in its way. So my prayers are lifted up, and my heart, it aches. I know your struggles, how your strength breaks. Lupus and spoons will one day be done. Keep hope in your hearts. This war will be won. I am sending you a smile, healing energy and joy for those days when your life feels a void. From my heart to yours, till we fear the spoon no more, I wish you love and joy. Make memories galore. We're going to take a brief commercial break. We're going to be listening to This Love by Philip Phillips and Joshua Ledette. We'll be back in just one moment with more My Rays of Light Radio. Welcome back to the My Rays of Light Radio Show. I'm your host, L.M. Young. Tonight I've been joined with Nadiyah, and we've been discussing how to get in touch with your body. We've also had this project going on, this ongoing project going on, talking about doing gratitude journals. Now, the reason why I had even thought of the gratitude journals is because, in my opinion, we need to spend more time being grateful for the things that are abundant in our lives. And what better way to do that than get our children involved? And so, Nadiyah, how is that going in your household?
Surprisingly pretty good. Very surprising. They do not like writing anything down in a book. They, like most children, technology, they want to have a game in front of them or a computer or, a smartphone, So, when you mentioned the gratitude journals, I said, okay, well, let's see what's going to happen. I went to the store, and good thing that, school is, will be starting soon where I am.
Right.
So you can get school supplies at a discounted rate. So I said, okay, let me get about 10 of these books.
Right.
All different, patterns, the way they look different, And
right.
I guess children are pretty much visual. They want to own things. They want to pick it. They like it, very tangible. So I spread it out and said, okay, this is what we're doing. I did a trial and said, okay, we're going to talk about things that we're grateful for. And they all had turns. And, it took a little while for them to think, And, to start them off, you have to give them a little, a few ideas. Well, this is what I'm grateful for. What are you grateful for? And they get competitive. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. And eventually it became, I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for the rain. I'm grateful for dogs. And just thinking about the everyday basic things that we take for granted, it actually put them in a much better mood. The rest of the day, no arguing.
Wow.
So, that's what I said. I'm grateful for gratitude journals. So they pick this special book, and every time I call them up, I don't even have to say anything. They pull out the book and they pull out the pencil and they just start writing.
Wow. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. We're trying to encourage as many people as possible, not just children, but people in general, to write in the gratitude journals, because I think sometimes we forget. We forget about the things that we take for granted. We forget that something that my grandmother used to tell me was that as miserable as you are in this moment, there is someone who is unhappier than you are, and they're smiling. There's always a reason why we can find something to be grateful for, always. Even when I was talking about the grain of sand on the beach, even if that grain of sand feels like a boulder, even if it feels like a boulder, and sometimes I've had to deal with things that feel like boulders. I'm sure we all have. But enjoy the idea of the beach, because that's only one part of your life. It's only one part of it. There are plenty of things to be joyous about. There are plenty of things to be happy about. You woke up this morning. You saw a sunrise or a sunset. You ate with your family, or you prepared a meal, or you even had a meal. That you had a bed to sleep in, or that you were able to sleep. All of these things are brilliant reasons why we should be celebrating life instead of complaining about all the things that we're not getting out of it. Because it's always going to be true. There are going to be things that we want in this life that we may not get. But the truth is that we always have exactly what we need. We always want a little bit more. And that's what we call discontent. But we want to constantly remind our children that there's more to life than the PlayStation. There's more to life than, Nintendo. There's more to life than these game systems. There's more to life than the computers. There's a great big world out there, and it's theirs. It's theirs. People will say it was our ancestors. No, we're not taking it from. We're not abusing it from our ancestors. We're borrowing it from our children. This is our children's world, and we need to teach them how to appreciate every tiny thing. I have a daughter who took 17 pictures of a squirrel. 17 pictures of a squirrel, the same squirrel. It wasn't doing magnificent things. It wasn't playing the violin. It wasn't doing anything spectacular except just being a squirrel. And I had to sit through all of these pictures of this squirrel. And she's not 5. She's not a 5-year-old. She is an adult. He took pictures of this squirrel. And isn't it beautiful, Mom? Isn't it this? Isn't it that? Isn't it just gorgeous? Isn't it? I said, how did it make you feel when you saw that squirrel? And she said, it made my heart feel warm all over. And this is the type of gratitude that we're talking about, because that squirrel didn't come home with her. We're not feeding it tonight. It's not sitting at the dinner table, but it's something she appreciated in a moment that if someone, how often do you see squirrels? They're everywhere.
Yes.
Squirrels are everywhere. But she gets out her little smartphone and she's just snapping all kinds of pictures of this squirrel during her break at Walmart.
Wow.
And so I thought to myself, this is gratitude at its best. This is gratitude at its best. And that was the whole purpose behind the journals. And another thing about the journals is it doesn't have to be all words. Let them take pictures or color pictures, draw something. What makes them smile today? What is making them happy today? Because the thing that makes me smile today may not be the thing that's going to make me smile tomorrow. It's ever changing. You know, so
Right.
I'm really glad that your kids got involved with it. I know that Bears is involved, and Razim has got the rest of the kids involved in it, and it's a really good activity to get into, you know, because it can evolve into something better than that. One year I did a gratitude journal for Che and Gisela, and I spent up to the moment that I bought them, I wrote in them every single day. These are the things that I'm grateful for having you in my life for this reason, for that reason, for this reason, you know. And then I sent it to them for Christmas. It was just, and I think it's an amazing gift to give someone your heart in that way. And that's what the gratitude journals are to me. And I'm just glad that everybody's getting involved.
A lot of people don't understand until you're the one receiving that letter. To hear how special you are, because a lot of times people don't realize how special they are.
You're right.
You know, to someone else. You know, and even when you take that few moments to look around, you start to realize what you appreciate really.
Right.
You know, let's take the house away. Let's take, you know, the fresh air away. You know, there's a lot of things that we actually take for granted. You know, even like a rainbow. You know, it seems very simple, very basic, but very everyday. When you see the sun rise and set every day, you don't seem to realize that, let's say, for example, you're in a part of the world and there is a part of the world that you have less sunlight than you have night, and vice versa. You know, you just try going to sleep in the daytime every day. You know, you start to realize, you know, maybe this is nice. And then the people that go through that's something to be in awe of as well. You know, you mean certain seasons that is daytime most of the time, or it's nighttime most of the time. That's amazing.
It is. Having lived that way before, it is completely amazing. It really is. You know, so we wanted to finish the show tonight just talking about the gratitude journals and encouraging everyone to get involved. It's a way of giving back, and Nadiyah is completely correct in that sometimes people don't realize how important they are to you. So over the next week, I want you to spend as much time as possible letting the people that you love know how very much they mean to you. It can be the difference between life and death for so many people. You know, we love you here at My Rays of Light Radio. I wish you a week filled with light and love. My name is L.M. Young, and these are My Rays of Light.